Alright, in this video I'm going to combine a couple of techniques. There are some videos out there, namely the one from Game Workshop that shows you how to make a lava base. And I want to achieve the same thing, but with this, Nurgle's Rot. And in order to do this, first I took a base that I had chopped off of the zombie that I did in the last video. I'm going to use that to do this on. So what you're going to need is a flat base. You're going to need white scar, Uriel yellow, Nurgle's Rot, and Martian Iron Earth. As well as, let's see, what color will we use? You can use whatever color you want after that, but before the Martian Iron Earth completely dries, there's going to be a step, I'm going to show you how to do it, where you take a blow dryer, and right as soon as it starts to kind of haze over and start to kind of dry around the edges, that's when we're going to take another color, tan or brown. Let's see, I'll probably use XV88. And then after that, I will actually scratch that. I want to do something really cool. Armageddon Dust. That's what I'm going to use. Alright, so let's get started. First things first, had a problem with my video to start with, so I wiped off all the paint except for the one that I had on there from yesterday. Put white scar, cover your base with white scar. It does not need to be solid white. As you can see, you can kind of see through it. That's why I did not use ceramite white. It doesn't need to be completely coated. Just cover the whole thing, let it dry, and then we're going to add Uriel yellow. And Uriel yellow, we're going to just kind of like streak it in various areas, kind of randomish. The light areas of Nurgle's Rot are going to be over the yellow, and the heavy, thicker areas of Nurgle's Rot will be in the white area. Just so you can be prepared. I didn't use flash glitz because I felt it was too bright. I wanted something that Nurgle's Rot could go over, and it would fairly complement it, but give it an eerie yellow glow as well. Alright, this is dry now. I'm going to, I readjusted the camera so you can see it better. So now we're going to carefully apply Nurgle's Rot very thinly over the entire thing. We're going to let it dry, and then we're going to build up. We're going to put a thin layer that on top of this, on top of all these white spaces, we're going to add another thin layer. We're going to let it dry, and then we're going to do it again. We're going to add another thin layer more closely to the center. So it's going to be, we want it darkest in the middle of the white areas and kind of fading-ish into over the rest of it. All right. So, all right. We're going to let that dry. Now that this is dry, we're going to go ahead and add another layer of it. Thin layer, cover the whole thing. I know I said we'd start doing the white. Just cover the whole thing one more time. this stuff's pretty translucent, so if you want to start building up a little bit in the white areas, feel free. Alright, and we're going to let that dry. Alright, now that that's done and dry, one more time. Get your brush and add a dollop more to the lighter areas. Alright, and we're going to let that dry. Alright, now that that's dry, this next part is going to be it's very time sensitive. If you haven't seen the video on how Warhammer TV did their volcanic base, I would say go watch it. You'll see the link at the top here. Go ahead and go watch that, and but I'm going to do the same thing here. So I'm going to take Martian iron earth, and we're going to apply it fairly thickly, not too thin, because we need the cracks to be large. We need it to pull itself, and we're going to cover the entire base. Okay, so and then you need a hair dryer handy. If you don't have a hair dryer, I would say the next best way to go is to just sit and wait and watch and kind of feel it every 10 to 20 minutes or so. But having a hair dryer definitely speeds up the process. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab a bunch of this Martian iron earth and then spread it on. Get this out of the way. Be sure you cover all the way to the edge of the base. Now, to kind of give you an idea of how thick I have it on here, I'll go ahead and lift it up and let you take a peek. Alright, about an 1/8 inch or so thick. Alright, and I'm going to go ahead and wipe off my tool before I start this drying process. Alright, now before you start the drying process, make sure you have Armageddon dust shook up and ready to go. Armageddon dust, we will use a brush to apply it. The iron earth is not going to be completely hard and encrusted, so you got to be extra careful when applying this Armageddon dust that you don't disturb the drying process of this cracked earth thing that's gonna iron earth. All right, so forgive the loud noise. Let's go ahead and turn this on. All right, now for the sake of doing this, I'm gonna go ahead and pull this out of view. But you see how glossy it is right now. I will do this real time. All right, so I'm going to put this on low and leave it on hot. it's starting to, okay, see how it's pretty dry looking. I don't know if you can tell or not, but it's got a couple of cracks starting to form. I guess you can kind of see it there. All right, that's right where we want it. We want to leave that alone. Don't want to apply any more heat to it. Get that crap out of the way. And now I'm going to apply this Armageddon dust to the top of it. Like I said, we have to be extremely careful. Try and get it on there as thin as you can without pushing too hard. I don't want it too terribly thick on top. Alright, see you in 2 hours. Okay, so it's been about 3 hours now. And in hindsight, I would say not to put the Armageddon dust on first. But it cracked very nicely, not as large as I would like. You can fix that by putting on the Martian iron earth thicker. The cracks get bigger the thicker you put it on. But anyway, we'll go ahead and continue with this. As you can see the green showing through the cracks. Now what I'm going to do is add a little bit more. Some of you might be asking why not just do the iron earth only, you know, not put any of the stuff underneath. That's because it will indeed look differently. This stuff is translucent, so you're going to want something underneath it. Let's see. I use this one. So what we're going to try and accomplish now is getting this down into the cracks. And spread it through the cracks. It's okay if you get it on top, on the edges. It's actually preferable. And you can see that one chunk that's busted off over here in the corner. I purposefully did that since the cracks weren't wide enough, or not as wide as I would have liked. Busted off that small chunk so that you can really see the effect. So I'm going to draw it out to here. Alright. We'll call that good and let it dry. Alright. Now that that's dry, we're going to do some final touches for this. First up, we're going to clean up this red edge. What happened here is when the iron earth, Martian iron earth dried, as it dries it pulls. So you know, each section is like pulling towards its center. So that's why when I first put on this Armageddon dust, it reached all the way to the outside edge. You saw that. Now look how far in it is. Okay, so that's why I say, you know, this is the first time I've done this, what I just showed you. The tutorial that I gave you a link for doesn't show putting texture on top of this, just black paint. So, which one dries a lot quicker too, is nowhere near as thick as the dust. So anyway, let's go ahead and get that Armageddon dust back out and go around the edge, touch it up, and then let it dry. Alright. Nice coverage. Get the excess off the brush. And we're going to sit and we're going to let that dry. Alright, now that our crusty edge is dry, I'm going to try some XV88. Actually, no, sorry. Should probably do finishing touches on top first before I do the edge. So grab some Agrax Earthshade. Try especially not to get it down into the crevice like that. If you do get it down into a crevice, get a dry brush, soak it out. Try and do it quickly before it dries up. That way you can still see the green. Now for the XV88. Alright. Now I'm going to do this video again. If you care to see the process change, I'm not going to put the Armageddon dust on top to start with. It's just going to be the Martian iron earth. And then once it all cracks up and is completely dry, then I'll see about adding the texture to the top. Alright. As you can see, the shade is drying pretty quick on top of that texture. Anyway, we'll let the whole thing settle and dry really well. Okay, so that dried quite nicely. And as a matter of fact, sitting here and doing the rest of this with you guys, the cracks have actually widened out more, quite a bit more since it's been sitting here. So I'm looking at the clock right here. It seems 5 hours has passed. Now, granted, I bet it will look better in the next video when I do it without putting the Armageddon dust on it before it's done drying and cracking apart. So this will be it for this video. There's some other things you could do to this. You could add some sterling mud on top, maybe a skull or two. You know, it's some. I don't know that you'd want to put grass in there. I don't know what grass grows in radioactive goo, but whatever you like. So there you have it. Thank you for watching.